Le jaune et rouge là. No, 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 no.
I mean, there's more rules than that, but for everyday driving around town, oh, here we go.
Bye bye.
All right, heading out for a little bit of a vlog here. This is my first vlog. My name is Asha, and I decided to create this vlog because I wanted to. I started riding motorcycles several months back, and I am in a little bit of a unique situation. I'm an American expat living in Africa, and I was trying to find content on how to ride bikes, how to repair bikes, like the bikes you would find here typically. And I ran into a bit of a problem because essentially a lot of the motorcycle tips and things you find online tend to be in certain categories that didn't quite cross over into my category. For example, if you want to learn how to ride a motorcycle, you will typically get a lot of stuff that's based on asphalt. Oh, right here. See, this is just an example of some of the challenges here. In America, when I was trying to learn how to ride a bike, there wasn't this off-road kind of stuff. Typically, when you're first starting to ride a bike, you see a lot of videos that are based on tarmac, pavement, regular roads, stuff like that. And then there's some adventure bike videos and motocross videos and enduro videos. And here I am doing off-road riding, but I'm a new rider. And so how do you teach a new person learning a motorcycle for the first time how to ride essentially in an off-road environment? So we're coming up here on this is sort of like the main road of the area of my neighborhood here. Eventually coming up, you'll see some paved road. So it's not all road like this. You may say, okay, well, just learn adventure bike or just learn dirt bike videos. Well, that's not all the case of what I have to deal with. You'll see coming up that there's pavement. And I do need to learn how to ride on pavement. But you see here how the pavement is a lot of pot marks and potholes and dirt and pebbles and stones. And this is not exactly adventure riding, but it's not exactly typical pavement riding either. And you just don't really see this combination. Either they're going completely off-road, or they're in the mud, or they're going through rivers. You have videos like that, but not so much about stuff like this. So I just wanted to create a moto vlog where I'm a new rider and I'm learning how to ride and things like this, where I kind of have to switch between riding in traffic with roads that are kind of paved, sometimes more paved than others. But then I also may come across some more of your off-roading kind of things. So here, you have a lot of creative situations that someone may find themselves in. This isn't normal traffic situations. This is not a main road, but it's sort of like the main road for our area. So here, trying to dodge these potholes, and as a newer rider, I started around May of this year, 2024, and this is the sort of stuff I immediately had to come up through. This is some of the stuff I had to immediately deal with. It's a nice little ride today towards the evening hours here. A little bit of dirt thrown in there for measure. More potholes. Wow, I try to miss these really deep potholes. This requires me to be able to know how to swerve, and I'm not quite as confident in swerving in conditions like this because of the dust and the small pebbles and things and stones you find on the road. So I try my best. I've gotten a little bit better at swerving. This is definitely something that can train you how to swerve better, but I'm probably a little bit more conservative than I need to be. Whereas here, we see just really dented up, kind of more off-road conditions. But there you go, back onto pavement. Sometimes I like to go to the right there and that road on the right, but going to go a different way for you guys. Sometimes roads get so bumpy, I will even stand up on the pegs a little bit. But I'm riding a 125 or so cc bike, and I am not riding a true adventure bike. This is a lighter commuter style bike that is really common in developing countries, such as countries you find in Africa. So you can kind of see here that this is really what I'm up against here as far as learning how to ride. I would have never thought that I would have ever started riding a motorcycle. I would have thought that I always saw motorcycles as something really, really dangerous. But there are some benefits of learning how to ride here in Africa, despite the fact that there are some big challenges, definitely big challenges, but there are some benefits as well. And I might make a video on going into the pros and cons of learning how to ride overseas versus riding in the United States. I would say that the goal of this is to show someone like me learning here we go. Is to show someone like me learning how to ride in a very different environment. I do drive here in Africa, and I remember when I first started driving that it was going to be super crazy. I thought it was going to be just wild. When I saw another expat driving an actual vehicle in Cameroon here, it just blew my mind, because the traffic flow is so different than what we're used to. It's a lot more free flowing, shall we say. It is not quite as ordered, and I just thought it was sort of like a free-for-all, and in many ways it is kind of like a free-for-all in some ways. And so definitely riding a motorcycle in that, I couldn't have imagined. If you would have asked me a few years ago, would I ever see myself riding a motorcycle on this kind of free-for-all way of traffic and terrain and such things like that. And I could say that I would have never saw myself doing that. It was a lot just for me to get driving. We drive a truck, and but then to go from this truck down to a motorcycle, that's quite the drop. And I'm always trying to find what's the best line, so to speak, whenever I'm driving the motorcycle. And there's a certain awareness that you have to have here that you wouldn't have to have in the United States. Don't want to spoil my video on the pros and cons, but I just wanted to show just how it would be. I mean, I couldn't really find videos showing an American learning how to drive a motorcycle, learning how to ride a motorcycle, I should say. I mean, if you see Westerners or Americans in Africa, what they're going to basically show you is their huge adventure bike riding, going across several countries, and it's going to be kind of more of this, like I said, a cross-country adventure. I don't really have a large adventure bike. I just have a regular old commuter bike, as I was saying, and I just want to know, hey, if someone like me happens to want to learn how to ride a motorcycle overseas or find themselves overseas, what are some things, what's the experience going to be like on a regular bike, not a heavy bike? And you might want to know, well, why, would I not get maybe an adventure bike, being that the roads are as they are, as you can see kind of here? Well, that's because, hey, I'm just starting out, so I'm trying to learn, and I'm not trying to get the heaviest bike. I am a small female, and I don't want to be muscling around some 500-pound bike and dealing with a whole bunch of horsepower or CC that I'm not used to yet. I feel like these little small budget commuter bikes are just such a good starter bike. And I like being here because, okay, as I say, laws are a little bit free for, like I said, it's a bit of free-flowing riding here. But anyway, as I was trying to say, getting used to as a small female to manage this commuter-style bike, it's just so much easier. And also the culture here, you don't feel pressure to have to get the biggest and best bike. So, you know, there's not like this bike culture of I got this style bike, or people driving Harleys, or people having sport bikes or adventure bikes or dirt bikes or dual sports, or all that kind of stuff is more of a Western thing. You see it in some countries in Africa, but here particularly, it's just people just riding your commuter bikes. And so I don't feel any kind of pressure here to have the biggest and best. I can have my little clunky, broke down fixer-upper bike that I bought and work on it and be really happy and not feel any pressure to have anything else, and I could just more focus on my skills. So I'm very happy. Here we are at this intersection. Now this is the main drag, and one of the things is there aren't any real stop signs or lights in the town that I'm in. So pretty much when you come up to an intersection like this that should have a stop sign or a stoplight, you would, as a new rider, be able to kind of maybe ease your way into making left-hand turns like this or right-hand turns, and you just can't. You just have to essentially just go for it. I will just blend in. For example, if I'm making a left, I may turn into the opposite lane a little bit if it's mostly clear, and then blend into the lane I'm supposed to be in. One great thing that I do like about riding in my town is there's a lot of bikes, and so that does. Oh wait, woo! Yeah, I might not have looked that much on video, but that was kind of close there. This road right here there's no lanes, as you can see. It's just literally a big swath of paved road. And the rule is essentially you are going more towards the right, but that's not always so. This is the center, the entrance of the town, as they call it, where they have the inscriptions or writings of the tribal kings. But anyway, as I was saying, is that generally you do stay to the right where I am, but you see here I'm gonna try to filter here through this like pothole, and it's like filtering not in the same direction. It's literally filtering with oncoming traffic, but it may seem kind of crazy, and it is a little bit, but traffic here is way slower than in America. You're just not going to get up to go very, very fast. So that's one thing I do appreciate, is that people are very aware of bikes, and also the speeds tend to be pretty slow. In fact, that's probably one of the reasons why you may see me passing bikes a lot, passing other vehicles, is that traffic here can be so incredibly slow. Like, part of that is because of the potholes. Part of it is just, I don't know why, but people just go at times really, really slow in town. And so as a bike rider, I like to pass. I do try to pass on the left. A lot of people like to pass on the right because of the oncoming traffic.
So I have to be really, really careful through here. This is where we kind of get into the scary zone,
because anything can kind of come out. You see there's a lot of people can dart across the road, motorcycles can dart across the road. This looks pretty good right now, but as I was saying earlier, people like to pass on the right, and it's bad, as we know, in the US, because if someone's making a right-hand turn, which has happened to us in our truck before, you have to really look for bikes, because if there's a bike passing you on the right and you hit a motorcycle rider, it's really bad. In fact, here, typically you don't ever want to hit a motorcycle rider, ever, generally speaking, but here it's especially bad because of the amount of people who ride motorcycles, particularly motorcycle taxis. Okay, I'm just gonna bring the bike to a stop here. I think I need to have a little bit more visibility, so I'm gonna stop off and get me one of those nice high-vis vests, because right now all my gear is primarily in black.
Ok, ça fait combien? C'est combien? Ça, c'est 4500. J'aime le double couleur là.
Les doubles couleurs, oui, il y a les doubles couleurs.
Le jaune et rouge là. Non, 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 laisse mettre le prix d'abord. C'est juste un, non? Ce n'est pas beaucoup. Et ça, c'est. Mais maintenant, si je demande un autre, est-ce que ton prix, c'est le meilleur prix?
Effectivement. Le dernier prix, c'est 39. Vous allez porter à l'immédiat?
Oui. Non. Ok.
Oui. Non, ça va, ça va.
Ok. Ok, merci beaucoup.
Merci aussi.
Ok. À la prochaine.
All right, now that I have my little nice snazzy vest, let's get this show back on the road.
Man, I really appreciate having these mirrors now.
Before, I was just riding without mirrors at all, so I had to always be turning and looking behind when I was wanting to shift over or go over a bit or turn. Having the mirrors is nicer, but I'm not used to them yet. Okay, here we go, some congestion up in here. This is the area of town where people go and travel by bus to all around Cameroon. And here I am passing again here because of the slowness and the potholes and the congestion there. There's always a lot of congestion in that area where people are taking buses and things to leave town. Oh boy. Like I said, I mean, there's no lanes. It's just one big patch of road here. And, you know, other than generally staying to the right when you can, the rules are don't get into an accident. I mean, don't get hit yourself and don't cause an accident, basically. And that's the main rules. I mean, there's more rules than that, but for everyday driving around town, oh, here we go. Oh boy. All right. See what I mean? It's sort of like, well, there wasn't an accident caused there, so everything was hunky-dory. I like riding on this stretch of road because it is one of the best paved patches in town. Like if I want to just practice getting up to speed, this is the road in town to do it on. This is a road that goes to the regional capital of the region over. A region here is like a state. So like a state capital, this is a new road that they're making. It's not completely finished yet, but it's nice and freshly paved. And this is where I can kind of get my asphalt. There's a little bit of, this is where I can get my asphalt riding, pavement riding, getting up to speed as you can see here. There's some curves in here. So I really love practicing here, even though the curves aren't that severe, but you know, practicing the speed, coming into the corner, the lean. This is where one part of town that I can kind of practice. And there's, as I said, there's not a whole lot like this. So, I mean, I've gotten up to 80, 85 kilometers per hour through here, which, I don't know, in America, that's like 50-something miles per hour, but for here, that's blazing, especially on a 125, 150cc bike that they have here. And then the pavement ends. Then I have to deal with this off-road dirt situation again. But, you know, you just go from straight, really awesome pavement to just straight up dirt. And this is dry season right now. In rainy season, this would be mud. So I'll have to do videos of driving in it when it's, I don't do in mud, but when it's going to be more wet. Ooh. Yeah, this is where I'd stand up on the pegs back there to get up high. even though it looks kind of funky and weird. No one stands up on pegs here. I mean, it's like real. I look really weird when I stand up. I mean, just to be honest with you, I don't have a big adventure bike, but I do notice that even on this commuter bike, on that kind of bumpy terrain, standing up does make a bit of a difference. But then I am mostly seated. But that's just, I mean, that's just like another thing. You know, like, you know, if nobody is standing up with you, should you stand up? Well, I'm like, well, even though maybe people don't really stand up here in their style, I'm going to stand up on some sections just because I did notice it does make me feel a little bit better, even though I kind of stand out. Okay, here we go. We got some more pavement here. So we got a little bit more going on this road. This road eventually is going to turn into gravel, and it gets a little bit interesting ahead. Probably going to sign off now for this video, and probably in the next vlog we will continue going, and I will talk some more about why I, as an American expat, decided to ride motorcycles anyway. What's my story? How did it all begin? And why did I go from not wanting to ride motorcycles in America to definitely loving them a lot here in Africa?